The preparation is the power. Break down the habits, the disciplines, the systems that you must believe in. Daily test yourself. There's days when I'm sore, I'm tired, I don't want to, but that's the moment where I have the choice. Do I do it or do I stop and give up? Let's go. If you're tired of not feeling fit, tired, just not having a focus, tired, just not having a life that you deserve. This is your place to be. I'm Jason Yarusi. Today, we are talking about the sparrow in the storm. You know, so much in life, we have these moments of struggle, these moments of decision, right? And with that, we're put on the spot to have to choose whether we carry on or whether we run and hide. And that's the evolution of life. So I want to talk today about a small story I once heard and just the thought process and the impact of this story, yet small and seemingly childish, had on me thinking about choices I was making. So once upon a time, there was a small sparrow that lived on the edge of this great forest. And every spring, the wind would just tear through her nest. And every year, she would just rebuild, twigs, feathers, mud, put it back together. And while she was doing this, the other birds mocked her because they would say, well, why would you stay when these storms always find you? They chirped, fly somewhere where it was just easier instead of not facing through the storm. But the sparrow stayed, not because she loved or even cherished the struggle, right? She had most, it was always tough. It was always hard to build something and to have it destroyed, to have it taken away. But each time she believed something stronger was growing inside of her. So one year, the storm came and it came earlier than expected. And so the other birds, they weren't prepared. They weren't prepared for this to come. They couldn't have left in time. And with that, the storm was fiercer than ever. So the nest fell, the trees cracked, but this time the sparrow, her nest held. And with that, the birds that once laughed at her, they gathered near her and huddled with her. So they had a place for cover. And they asked her, how did she do this? And she smiled and said, well, every storm that tried to break me built me. So when we think through that tale, you think about the struggles, right? And have you been one to, when a struggle comes, to run and hide and go the opposite way and try to avoid the storm? There's the parable about the buffalo and the cows, right? When a storm comes, the cows, they run away from the storm. But as we know, as storms are coming to us, they don't stop and go back the other way. They keep carrying with us, right? So these poor cows who are trying to run away from the storm actually stay in the storm longer because the storm just keeps carrying with them until it dissipates. Why the buffalo on the other side, when they see a storm, they go and they charge right at that storm. What happens is that they spend less time than the cows in the storm because they face the adversity head on and they persevere right through the eye of the storm to the other side. So growth doesn't come with avoiding the storm, but from learning to stand through them. And, you think about this, it's that there's lessons that we can take upon our own storms. Because if you are like me, you are having storms in your life. Whether you want them or not, the storms are coming. The sun may shine one day and the next day it is torrential downpour in your life. It may be a mild, right, calm universe. And then the next day, tornado hits within your life unexpectedly. And each time that comes, are you standing strong, finding your way through it, finding your way not only to support yourself through it, but those who need you most? Are you standing there with them to carry them through it? Or are you trying to run away from it, trying to get away from the storm, and then you sit in that storm for longer? So, we have takeaways here. First is every storm builds you. It teaches us to reframe obstacles as opportunities. And the storms that go through us, they help us get grit, wisdom, resilience. It helps us just truly look at what's ahead of us and understand why not perfect. There's a lesson to be learned within this. And next is why a struggle is a signal. It's not a stop sign. It doesn't mean that when you have discomfort that all is lost. There's growth happening there. There's growth being pulled out of you through this discomfort. And it teaches you to be resilient and to find how to resist through tough times. All of the great things that were built in this life, they were built through resistance. You talk about the diamond doesn't form unless it's under tremendous pressure. And that can create a diamond. But if we just take a rock and we just put a little bit of pressure on, try to squeeze it with our hands, nothing is formed there. The thing you're facing is that you can't chase the easy. You have to build the strong. I mean, a sparrow could have easily flown away, flown to somewhere else. But you know what? Each time a storm comes, you'd have to run again and hope for a brighter sun somewhere else. And eventually the storm is going to catch up with you and it's going to wreak havoc upon you because you haven't built the mental resilience to understand that that storm is not going to break you. It's going to hurt. It's going to cause pain. It's going to cause discomfort, but you're going to find your way to the other side. But you have to carry through it. And the power of rebuilding is strong because you build it back stronger. That's why when you see a tornado or a hurricane come back in, right? And it torments these homes that were built years ago before there was building codes in place, before there was understanding of these storms, before there was understanding of how to create constraints or restraints or different building practices to make the house stand strong, right? Well, these houses that are just torn apart, right? They get built back stronger. They get built back with deep foundations that can hold them, they have uplift factors that can keep them grounded. So when that storm comes through the next time, the house can weather the storm. Well, that is you at your life. When you face these struggles, when you face these obstacles, when you face these things, you build back yourself stronger. You build deeper roots. You build deeper understandings. You build deeper identity with you truly are. So when that storm comes up on you the next time, you say, I know how to get through you and I'm going to get to the other side. So stand strong in your moments of need and understand that the nest is built before the storm. You can't wait for these tough times to have you knocked down and say, okay, let me try and figure it out now. You have to understand you have to put in the work daily. The preparation is the power. Break down the habits, the disciplines, the systems that you must believe in. Daily test yourself. And that doesn't mean go out there and face loss, face struggle. Just understand that you testing yourself to do things when you don't want to, when you don't feel like it. You know, I'm taking on new tasks, new challenges. I'm working on ways to get stronger now, trying things that are outside my comfort zone. And there's days when I'm sore, I'm tired, I don't want to, but that's the moment where I have the choice, right? I have the choice. Do I do it or do I stop and give up? Now I do it and it might not be perfect and it might not be great, but I get to the other side. You know, so many people, they don't want to work out. I go, I don't want to work out. But when you work out and you get to the other side of it, you say, oh, that was great, right? Rarely do people get to the other side of working out and say, oh, that was horrible, right? When others mock your effort, that you keep moving forward and you understand that your vision is not seen by everybody else until it's actually produced. And that's the hardest thing. This is about turning out the noise and leaning into your path. You have to run your race. You know, when I run marathons, I people run with me or to say, I say, what's the biggest thing to do? Run your race. You know why that is? Because there's so much energy to start that marathon. It's 26.2 miles. That is long for some, short for others, right? But when you start that race, there's so much energy. And so all these people have prepared, right? They're all ready to go. They've spent weeks, they spent months going out there, getting prepared for this race. And then boom, the gun blows, right? Everybody takes off. And you, who was supposed to be running your 8-minute pace, your 9-minute, 10-second pace, you start running 6.5-minute pace, right? Why? Because everybody else is sprinting out of the gate. Everybody's so excited and they're going. And you may hold it for 1 mile or 2 miles or 3 miles, but because you didn't prepare by mile 4, you're gassed and your whole race is blown up. That happens with life. You need to turn off the noise and run your race. Understand that people will not see what you're trying to do, will not understand what you're trying to create until it's there. People can't see the other side of it. They can't understand the magic, right? What you're going to transform into, what you're going to create in this world, because they haven't seen it themselves and they haven't seen it from others. So how can they believe it through you? So turn off the noise and put in the work. And why others are watching you endure, know that they're learning through you how leadership is born. Because your persistence will inspire others, and they may be silent now, right? They may not mention it, but lo and behold, they're watching, right? And what they're seeing, right? They may not produce it back to you within the words, but they're seeing it. So believe in yourself, believe in you, because the faith is invisible. Right now, you are trusting what you're building. And it's hard when you're in it. It's hard when you're working through it. It's hard when you're putting in the work to say on the other side of this is what I actually want to occur. But because I don't have it, I just have to believe in this invisible success that hasn't been reached yet. And like the sparrow, you might not see the results at first, but this is a goal to focus on the patience and the trust and the long-term vision. Because if you put in the work, I promise you are not going to get worse. If you put in the work, You may not get where you want to go. You might get 10 steps past it, or you might get real close, but you're going to be a lot further than where you stand right now. Just to believe in what you're building. And lastly, turn your storm story into someone else's shelter. Because when you break through, when you grow to stages that you never could imagine, that was invisible to you and silent watchers were watching you from afar, at one moment, there's going to be a point when they're going to be able to look to you for what they didn't believe in before and say, hey, listen, I'm here and I'm struggling. Can you help me? And you're going to be there in that position to pull them forward. Because that's what great leaders do. That's what Live 100 is built upon. It's about building leaders to help carry forward the lessons of life that have helped you succeed, so all of these other people within your sphere can grow to a better level themselves. So take advantage of this life. Learn from the sparrow. Face the resistance that's going to come whether you like it or not. And prepare for yourself the test that's in front of you to know that you're ready and you welcome the challenge ahead. All right, that's what I have for you today. This is the Live 100 podcast. If you want to test yourself right now, go over to jasonyarusi.com. There's a free assessment there. And you answer some questions. It's going to help you take the control back by understanding how you're showing up right now. So you can create your starting line, get out of the gate, and go make it happen. All right, let's do this.